This video demonstrates the fabrication of custom tray for a complete denture prosthesis. The steps for fabrication will be as follows. Both maxillary and mandibular procedures will be explained simultaneously for each step. Three lines are marked on the cast using graphite and indelible pencils. The black line indicates the depth of vestibular sulcus. The blue line indicates the tray extension, which should be short of the sulcus by 2 mm. The red line indicates the extent of wax spacer, and this should be short of the blue line by 2 mm. In the maxillary cast, the blue line merges with the black line, and here it marks the posterior vibrating line. The red line continues on the posterior palatal aspect of the cast in a cupid bow shape to mark the anterior vibrating line. In the mandibular cast, the markings are similar all around except distobuccally. Here the red line is marked in such a way to relieve the extent of the buccal shelf area. Modeling wax is softened uniformly and adapted over the cast, taking care not to thin it out. A Bart Parker number 15 blade is used to remove the excess wax beyond the sulcus. Using the same blade, the wax spacer is cut back till the red line. The cuts are made intermittently to avoid distorting or tearing the wax. Provisions for stoppers are made in the wax spacer corresponding with first molar and canine areas. The dimensions of stoppers should be 2 mm in width and extending from palatal aspect of the ridge to the mucobuccal fold. In the mandibular spacer, relief is provided in buccal shelf area. Stopper extensions in mandibular arch are similar to maxillary in dimensions and extent and should saddle the crest. Aluminium foil is adapted onto the wax spacer, making sure that the shiny surface faces upward. It can be closely adapted using a fingernail or the broad end of a number 7 wax spatula. The excess is cut off using number 15 bar Parker plate. A slit is made in the center of the stopper area and the foil is made to adapt to the sides, exposing the cast. In the case of mandibular foil adaptation, a relieving cut is made in the foil so as to ease its adaptation onto the U-shaped arch. Adaptation is carried as was in the maxillary cast. A thin layer of separating medium is applied within the stops using an applicator tip and also along the areas between the wax spacer and the vestibule. The stoppers are filled with VLC resin and adapted well using the number 7 wax spatula. The VLC sheet is adapted onto the spacer, making sure not to stretch it. The borders are molded and adapted till the blue line, which is the tray extension. A handle measuring 8 by 8 mm in length and breadth and 4 mm in width is attached in the central incisor position. The borders are merged with the rest of the tray. A small depression can be made using the thumb to add a grip feature. For the mandibular cast, a triangular slit is made on the VLC to aid in easy adaptation. The stoppers are filled and the VLC resin is adapted over the spacer in a uniform manner. A handle with similar dimension as the maxillary is adapted. In addition, two finger rests are placed, one each in the first molar area, taking care to center them over the stoppers. The maxillary handle is angulated 15 degrees labially and the mandibular handle is kept vertical. This is done to mimic the angulation of the incisors. The cast with the tray on it is placed in the light curing chamber for 5 minutes. After this, the tray is removed, flipped over and kept for an additional 2 to 3 minutes to enable curing of the stops. The wax spacer and aluminum foil are then removed from the cured trays. The irregularity and the thickness of borders are adjusted to ensure a minimum 2 mm border with no sharp edges. The fabricated custom tray should be checked for the following features.